January 20th, 2009. Barack Obama is about to become the President of the United States. The Secret Service has one rule: no personal devices, too dangerous, too easy to hack. But Obama refuses to give up his phone. Not just any phone, his BlackBerry, the most secure, most addictive communication device ever created. After weeks of negotiation, the Secret Service finally caves. The President of the United States keeps his BlackBerry. That's how powerful this company was. At that exact moment, BlackBerry controlled 50% of the smartphone market in America. Their stock was worth $83 billion. Every CEO, every politician, every celebrity had one. They called it Crackberry because people couldn't stop checking it. The physical keyboard, the instant messaging, the red blinking light that told you someone needed you. It was digital cocaine. 5 years later, BlackBerry was worth less than $3 billion. They had fired 40% of their employees. And almost nobody wanted their phones anymore. By 2016, they stopped making phones entirely. This is the story of the fastest empire collapse in tech history, but here's what makes it terrifying. BlackBerry didn't fail because their product was bad. They failed because they refused to turn their customers into addicts. And in the modern world, that refusal was a death sentence. Let me take you back to the beginning, 1999. Two guys in Waterloo, Canada, Mike Lazaridis and Jim Balsillie, create a device that will change the world. It's called the BlackBerry 850. It's ugly, it's bulky, but it does something no other device can do. It gives you email in your pocket. Instant, secure, anywhere. Wall Street loses its mind. Traders, bankers, executives, they're hooked immediately. Before BlackBerry, if you wanted to check email, you had to find a computer. Now, you pull out this little device and boom, your entire office is in your hand. By 2003, BlackBerry has 1 million subscribers. By 2007, 14 million. The growth is exponential, unstoppable. But it's not just the email. It's the addiction model they accidentally created. That little red light, blinking, telling you someone messaged you. You can't ignore it. Your brain releases dopamine every time you see it. Check your phone, message, dopamine, check again. Another message, more dopamine. People are checking their BlackBerries every few minutes. At dinner, in bed, during meetings, it's not a phone anymore, it's a compulsion. And here's the thing, BlackBerry doesn't even realize what they've built. They think they're selling a productivity tool. They don't understand they've created the first mainstream digital addiction device. But the world understands. Crackberry, that's what people call it, and they're not joking. By 2007, BlackBerry is untouchable. They have 50% of the US market, 20% globally. Their stock is soaring. They're adding millions of users every quarter. Jim Balsillie is trying to buy an NHL team. Mike Lazaridis is building quantum computing research centers. They're not just rich, they're empire-building rich. And then, January 9th, 2007, everything changes. Steve Jobs walks onto a stage in San Francisco and says, "Today, Apple is going to reinvent the phone." He pulls out the iPhone, no physical keyboard. Just a giant touchscreen. You control everything with your finger. The crowd goes insane. But in Waterloo, Canada, the BlackBerry executives watch this presentation and they laugh. Literally laugh. Mike Lazaridis later said, "It's the most expensive phone in the world, and it doesn't appeal to business customers because it doesn't have a keyboard, which makes it not a very good email machine." Jim Balsillie is even more dismissive. He tells the media, "We're not worried about the iPhone. It's not a threat to us." One executive says in an internal meeting, "People don't want to touch their screen to type. It's uncomfortable. They want real buttons." This is the moment. This is where the empire begins to crack. Not because they're stupid, but because they fundamentally misunderstand what's happening. They think people want phones for productivity, for work, for email. They're wrong. People want phones for entertainment, for apps, for games, for social media, for addiction. Apple understands this. In July 2008, Apple launches the App Store. Suddenly, your phone isn't just for email, it's for everything. Games, music, social networks, shopping, dating. Every app is designed to keep you hooked, to keep you scrolling, to keep you coming back. The iPhone isn't a productivity tool, it's an addiction machine, and it's brilliant. Google sees what Apple is doing and copies it. Android launches, free for phone manufacturers. Apps everywhere, touchscreens everywhere. And just like that, the entire smartphone industry shifts. It's not about email anymore. It's about apps. It's about ecosystems. It's about keeping users inside your world, addicted to your platform. And BlackBerry, They're still making phones with keyboards, still focusing on email, still targeting business users. They watch the App Store explode and they think, that's not our market, we don't need that. In 2010, they finally tried to compete. They launched the BlackBerry PlayBook tablet. It's supposed to be their iPad killer, but it ships without email, without a calendar, without basic apps. It's a disaster. Reviews destroy it. Nobody buys it. BlackBerry has to write off $485 million in unsold inventory. But the real problem is internal. And this is where it gets dark, because BlackBerry isn't just failing in the market, it's imploding from the inside. Mike Lazaridis and Jim Balsillie are co-CEOs, two guys running one company. And they hate each other. They have completely different visions. They fight constantly. Lazaridis wants to focus on technology and innovation. Balsillie wants aggressive expansion and marketing. Neither one will back down. Employees describe meetings where the two co-CEOs would argue in front of everyone. Projects would get approved by one CEO and killed by the other. Engineers didn't know who to listen to. The company was paralyzed. And while BlackBerry fought with itself, Apple and Google were swallowing the market. By 2011, the cracks are visible to everyone. BlackBerry's market share is plummeting. iPhone and Android are everywhere, but BlackBerry executives are still in denial. In an interview, one executive says, "We're not in a death spiral, we're in a transition." That's corporate speak for we're dying, but we won't admit it. Then, October 2011, the nightmare escalates. BlackBerry's entire network crashes. For 3 days, hundreds of millions of users around the world can't send messages, can't access email, can't do anything. In the UK, riots break out and looters are using BlackBerry Messenger to coordinate, but the police can't track them because the network is down. It's chaos. When the network finally comes back online, millions of users are done. They've already ordered iPhones. They've already switched to Android. BlackBerry tries to apologize, offers free apps as compensation. But it's too late. Trust is gone, 2012. Internal documents later released in court show that BlackBerry executives knew they were in trouble. One email from a senior engineer reads, "We are in a death march and nobody is acknowledging it." Another says, "Our operating system is 6 years behind iOS. We can't compete." But publicly, the company keeps saying everything is fine. They keep releasing phones with keyboards. They keep insisting that business users will stay loyal. They're wrong, even business users are leaving. IT departments that used to mandate BlackBerry are now allowing iPhones. Companies that gave every employee a BlackBerry are switching to bring your own device policies. The corporate fortress that BlackBerry built is crumbling. January 2013, BlackBerry launches the BlackBerry 10 operating system. It's their last hope. A complete redesign, touchscreen-focused, modern interface. They call it a rebirth. They spend $150 million on a Super Bowl ad featuring Alicia Keys as their creative director. The reviews are actually decent. People say, this is good. This could work, but it doesn't matter, because by 2013 the app ecosystem is everything, and developers have abandoned BlackBerry. Instagram, not on BlackBerry. Snapchat, not on BlackBerry. Netflix, not on BlackBerry. Every major app that people actually want, not available. BlackBerry tries to convince developers to come back, but why would they? There are 700 million iOS users and 1.5 billion Android users. There are 70 million BlackBerry users, and that number is dropping every month. September 2013, BlackBerry announces they're putting themselves up for sale. Translation, we give up. We're looking for someone to buy us, but here's the devastating part, nobody wants them. Not Microsoft, not Google. Not Samsung, not anyone. A company that was worth $83 billion 6 years earlier can't find a buyer at $3 billion. Eventually, a private equity firm called Fairfax offers to buy them, but that deal falls apart too. Instead, BlackBerry raises some money, replaces the co-CEOs with a new CEO named John Chen, and tries to survive as a software and services company. 2016, BlackBerry officially stops making phones. They license their name to other manufacturers, but they're done. The empire is over. From dominating the world to irrelevant in less than a decade. 90,000 employees laid off over those years. Billions in shareholder value evaporated. One of the fastest, most complete corporate collapses in modern history. So what happened? Everyone has theories. Some say BlackBerry was too focused on hardware when software was taking over. Some say they were too slow to innovate. Some say the two co-CEOs destroyed the company with their fighting. All of that is true. But there's a deeper reason, a darker reason. BlackBerry failed because they refused to exploit human psychology. Apple and Google built addiction machines. Every app on the iPhone is engineered to trigger dopamine, to create compulsive behavior, to keep you checking, scrolling, tapping. They studied slot machines, gambling psychology, behavioral conditioning. They hired attention engineers whose only job was to make apps more addictive. BlackBerry didn't do that. They built a tool for communication. Email, messaging, calls, that's it. They weren't trying to keep you on your phone for hours. They weren't mining your data to sell ads. They weren't creating infinite scroll feeds designed to destroy your attention span. They were building a product, not an addiction. And in the modern economy, that's a fatal mistake. Because we don't buy products anymore. We buy addictions. We buy dopamine hits. We buy the feeling of checking our phones 150 times a day. Apple and Google understood that. BlackBerry didn't. There's a quote from Mike Lazaridis years later where he says, "I don't think we appreciated how addictive smartphones would become. We thought people wanted communication. We didn't realize they wanted entertainment and distraction." He sounds almost sad saying it, like he still doesn't understand that the distraction was the point, that the addiction was the feature, not the bug. Today, BlackBerry still exists. They make cybersecurity software. They work on connected car systems. John Chen turned them into a profitable, boring enterprise software company. They'll probably survive for decades doing that. But the BlackBerry that people remember, the empire, that's dead. And here's the terrifying lesson. This is what happens when you refuse to optimize for addiction in a world that runs on it. BlackBerry was more secure than the iPhone. More focused on productivity, better for privacy. They were arguably the better product. But they lost because they wouldn't manipulate you. They wouldn't exploit your psychology. They wouldn't turn you into a dopamine-seeking zombie. The companies that won, they had no such hesitations. Every feature on your iPhone, every app on your Android is designed with one goal: keep you hooked, keep you scrolling, keep you addicted, and it works. The average person now checks their phone 96 times per day. We spend 7 hours a day staring at screens. Teen mental health is collapsing. Attention spans are shrinking, but the tech companies don't care because addiction is profitable. BlackBerry refused to play that game, and they paid the ultimate price. Their empire collapsed. Their employees lost their jobs. Their shareholders lost billions, all because they wouldn't turn their customers into addicts. So the next time you pick up your phone and can't stop scrolling, the next time you check Instagram for the 20th time in an hour, the next time you feel that compulsion to look at your screen, even though nothing's happening, remember BlackBerry. Remember the company that dominated the world and then vanished because they thought people wanted tools, not traps. They were wrong. And now, we're all living in the world their competitors built. A world where your attention is the product, where your addiction is the business model, where every tech company is fighting for your eyeballs, your time, your brain. BlackBerry lost that fight because they refused to fight dirty. Everyone else won because they had no problem turning you into an addict. And that should terrify you.